Hi, my name is Lily and welcome back to my channel. In this video I'm going to be doing my 1 year booktube celebration Q&A. So I have been on booktube for a year. I have been posting mostly consistently for that year. I think I've only taken weeks off at a time and never really much more than that. And I am enjoying it, and at the moment I'm still planning on sticking with it, so I thought I would do a little Q&A so you can get to know me a bit more and see what kind of questions you guys had for me. So I have split these up into categories. I have booktube questions, bookish questions, personal questions, and then random questions. They vary in size. The personal questions are the smallest ones because I guess people were feeling a bit shy. That's fine. Thank you so much if you have been here for this whole year, if you've been here for a day, however long you've been here. Thank you so much for watching my videos and just being a part of this. I've really enjoyed it and I've loved how welcoming and inclusive the community has been. And with all of that being said, I will get started with the questions. The first question is, what made you start booktube? And honestly, I'm struggling to remember what precisely made me start, but I used to be a book blogger and I wasn't really enjoying being on that side of the book community. I wasn't feeling as welcomed or as a part of the community over there, and I was finding it really hard to navigate being a blogger. And I made some amazing blogger friends, but it just didn't feel right for me. But I wanted to keep talking about books. And for years I've always thought about starting a YouTube channel but never knew what to make my YouTube channel about. And basically I came up with the idea of Pixarathon, and I kind of noticed how readathons only seem to go really well when they were hosted by booktubers. From my experience anyway, I'd never really seen readathons hosted by bloggers. If there are some that have gone really well, awesome, not judging, but just my experience, the ones I've always known the most about are the ones hosted by booktubers, and I personally find it easier when there's videos explaining them. So I decided to start a booktube so that I could announce my readathon, and it just kind of spiraled from there. The next question was, which booktubers have inspired you? And honestly, I find so much inspiration from so many different booktubers. Off the top of my head, the ones that I have found influenced me the most or inspired me the most are Hayley in Bookland, Ashley from A Frolic Through Fiction, Kizzy from Biblio Thoughts, who else do I watch a lot? Brit from Basically Brit, Beth from Book's Nest, Naya from Naya Reads and Smiles. I love her videos. Oh, it's just so many, it's hard to then recall them all quickly. Jazz from Travel Through Fiction, Lois from Lo-Chan Reads, who else? Kenny from Kenny Reads, Connor from Connor's Library. There's just so many people, honestly. I could keep going and listing all the people who, if I watch your videos, then you probably inspired me in some way, because I learn mostly through observation, which is pretty much because I'm autistic. So I watch other people's videos a lot and base my ideas from them. I watch what people do in editing and see if I can kind of recreate that myself. I think the biggest inspirations for me are definitely Ashley from A Frolic Through Fiction, Hayley from Hayley in Bookland, and Brit from Basically Brit. Those are the three that I watch the most. And probably Kizzy from Biblio Thoughts as well, because I really enjoy her videos a lot. But yeah, there's honestly so many more. There's also some other ones that have inspired me as well. You have Elise from The Petite Punk, Olivia from Olivia's Catastrophes. There's just so many people that I absolutely love, that I am inspired by. So yeah. Honestly, if I'm subscribed to them, they probably inspired me. The next question is, what are you most proud of since starting your booktube? And I think honestly just how much I've learnt. I decided to just throw myself in and do it without being perfect from the beginning. So I knew my first few videos weren't going to be amazing, and for example, someone I haven't mentioned just yet, who is also another inspiration, is Maddie from Book Browsing Blog. I feel like when Maddie started, she had a really good setup straight away, and she really kind of went in knowing what she wanted to do, knowing what she was supposed to do and things like that, and she sort of hit the ground running. And I saw that and I was like, I know I can't be that, but I feel like I could get to where she's at eventually. So I kind of went with the route of let's learn as I go, and I've been really proud of how resilient I've been with that. I've learned a lot, I've made a lot of mistakes, And yeah, I'm really enjoying how much I've allowed myself just to learn and make mistakes publicly. The next question is, was booktube as good as you thought it was going to be? And it's hard to answer because yes and no. I feel more welcomed by the booktube community than I did by any other bookish community I've tried to join. I found people much more willing to talk to me and like people interacting with my content a lot more, and that's been really lovely. When I was a blogger, like no one read my blog. My stats were always consistently really low. On Bookstagram, I've always really struggled, and I've always kind of felt like people only interacted so I would click back to their profile. Whereas on Booktube, I feel like people are genuinely engaging with my content and enjoying it for itself rather than just try and get me to go and look at their channels. And that's been amazing. But what I haven't liked as much about booktube is I feel like it's just as cliquey as any other part of the bookish internet, and I feel like I'm not really part of that clique. And I've been speaking to my friends because like my two closest friends that I have are bloggers, and so like whenever I say I feel like I don't have many booktuber friends, they're always like, oh, but you have us. And I say to them, but there's a difference because they are book bloggers and I'm a booktuber. So Maggie wants to come in. So yeah, there's a difference because like it's great having blogger friends and I love all of my blogger friends, but I feel like all of the people I know from booktube have groups of friends and they're all in group chats and they all go on each other's like live shows and like co-host things with each other, and like they all video chat each other a lot, and I feel like I'm still outside of a lot of that. I don't feel like I have close booktube friends yet, so that's been really hard for me to deal with and accept that it might come, and it might come eventually, but it also might not happen for me. So yeah, I think that's been the only thing that's not been great for me, is still feeling a bit of an outsider in the community. The next question is there anything you would tell yourself when you were starting booktube a year ago? This is really hard. I think I would say there was a bit where I felt like I should be less autistic on my booktube channel, so I tried really hard to constantly be looking at the camera and to try and regulate my volume and my tone more than I do now, and my engagement and like my viewership and everything really dropped when I did that, and I didn't feel as good about my booktube when I did that, and like I would rehearse everything I was going to say. And this was kind of a few months after I started booktube when I started doing this, and I was inspired by another booktuber because they spoke more consistently than I did, but I didn't realise me trying to do that was basically me masking on my channel, and it was just not a good moment for me. And I think I would tell myself, don't go down that route, just keep being yourself. Next is, what advice would you give to someone who is starting out on booktube? Honestly, I would just say be yourself. People come here for you. Like everyone's talking about mostly the same books. People are doing mostly the same videos. There's not a ton of originality on YouTube, but what people really come for is personality and for what you love to do, not because you're copying anyone else or because, you know, you're trying to be like the next Brit or the next Hailey or the next Hannah Azarang, you know, like it's really important to be yourself and do what feels right for you, and also to not feel like you can only ever talk about books. Next is, what is your favourite and least favourite part about booktube? I think it's hard to say favourite because there's so many like small positives I've got from booktube, but nothing huge. I feel like the favourite and least favourite kind of go hand in hand for me, and I've kind of already spoken about both of these, but like my favourite is the connections I've made and how I feel more a part of a community. It's made me closer to my friends, and I've met a lot of lovely people that I wouldn't have met if I wasn't doing booktube. But like I said earlier, my least favourite part is how cliquey I have found it and how strict I found it. Like, I know so many people, but I still don't feel like I'm part of a group of friends, and I really wish that I was, because I kind of want that little booktube group of friends, you know. I see people doing like squad sprints, squad readathons, and then they talk about their group chats, and I really want to be a part of something like that. I want to be accepted, I guess, and so I do really struggle a lot of the time with feeling left out, and that's hard. But I think that's something that I have to work on myself, and just to continue to talk to people and chat, and like there's so many people that I consider my friends that I just need to keep talking to because, you know, things come with time. So yeah, I think that is it. It's the social aspect of it can be the best and the worst part of booktube. Next is, what is your favourite video you have made? And honestly, this is really hard because I kind of am ambivalent towards most of my videos at this point. Like, I probably enjoyed filming a lot of them. Some of them I was kind of meh about. I guess the favourite ones to make are any that involve my boyfriend. I've had one filmed before and that really did well. That was when I did the like finding books on my shelf challenge, and that was really, really fun, and people seem to really enjoy that because yeah, he got to be a part of it. So that's probably my favourite ones to make. I kind of answered 2 questions in one there, because the next one was like, what are your favourite videos to film? And again, yeah, my favourite videos to film are the ones with my boyfriend. Like, I'm the ones I'm most proud of and the ones that are my favourite to film. Next is, can we get a hint about an upcoming video? I don't know when this one's going out, so I don't know what upcoming videos you might have, but ones I have planned for the future are, there's going to be another Pixarathon announcement because that's coming back. I filmed another video of my boyfriend. I've got a few book recommendation videos coming, I think, so yeah, lots of content coming from me. The next question is, what's your favourite book that you wouldn't have discovered without booktube? This is really hard. I'm looking at my bookshelves now and I don't really know, because I struggle to remember which ones I found because of booktube and which ones I found because of book Twitter. I think most of the books that I have read are probably because of booktube and book Twitter. Like, honestly, that's where I get most of my recommendations from. I think ones that I can say are standouts that I know I got from booktube are Saga. Oh, I know what my favourite one is. My favourite one is Lovely War. That one has been talked a lot about by Hayley in Bookland, and it was like one of her favourite books last year, so I finally picked it up this year and it's one of my all-time favourite books. Absolutely loved it. And again, I think that wraps into the next question, which is, what's the best book you've read because of booktube? And again, probably Lovely War, because yeah, I absolutely adore that one. Next, I have the more generic bookish questions. So the first question is, what is a book that you want everyone to read? This is, again, another hard one, because I find it difficult to say that there's like one book I'd recommend to everyone. And as I look at my shelves, there are a lot that I would recommend to a lot of people. I really wish more people would read Dead End Dear by Hamish Steele, which is one of my all-time favourites, which is getting a Netflix adaptation, but I know there's a dispute between the author and the publishers, so maybe check in with the author on whether he actually wants you to buy them right now. I don't know, what else should everybody read? I feel like Girls of Paper and Fire is super underhyped. More people should be reading that. The Miss Peregrine series, I think lots of people should read that. The Slated series by Terry, that is hugely underrated. People should be reading that. Yeah, I think that's a few answers for you. Next question is, what book reminds you of your childhood the most? And I guess if we're talking like young childhood, like primary school age, that's going to be books with dragons in them. So I won't go and find them because it's a bit messy on my bookshelves at the moment, but ones that come to mind for me are Dragon Rider by Cornelia Funk, Dragon Skin Slippers by Jessica Day George. There was this book series called The Astrosaurs, which was about dinosaurs in space. I loved that as a kid. Muddle Earth, that was one of the first like big books I read, and I absolutely love that. It's kind of a spin-off of Middle Earth, like a Mickey take, I can't remember what it's called, a parody. It's like a parody of Middle Earth. It's really good. And then as we get into like the later years, I know it's not a topic that people generally talk about much on booktube anymore, but later years for me it definitely was Harry Potter. I'm trying not to let it define my life too much now, thanks to what J.K. Rowling is doing, but that was a big part of my life as a teenager. The next question is, would you rather only read new releases or only read your favourite books? And I'm probably going to go with new releases because I generally crave like new information. My brain, as much as my brain likes repetition, oh, the sun has gone behind the clouds, so now it's really bad lighting. Let me turn the light on. Yeah, so we've now got terrible lighting, but we're going to keep going with it. But yes, as much as I like repetition, I think a lot of the time as well I really seek out newness. So I think I'd really struggle if I could only reread my favourite books over and over again, because that is, it's quite a substantial list, but it's still not loads, if you know what I mean, and it's not going to be as much variety as I would like to read. The next question is, what new releases are you looking forward to? Now I'm trying really hard to remember which books I've got on pre-order for the rest of the year. I know there's the next Helen Huang book, The Kiss Question, I think it's called. No, that was the first one. The Heart Principle. The Heart Principle is coming out soon. One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. I'm quite intrigued by John Green's new book, but I think that might have already come out. I just can't buy it yet. Is this one I just show you that I don't really remember? The final book in the Aurora Cycle series comes out soon, I think. That's going to be really good. I don't know. I'm really bad at this. Pre-orders tend to just show up and I'm always surprised. Oh wait, I've got my tablet open. Let me have a look on my pre-orders tab on my Notion. What have we got coming up? Oh, 6 Crimson Cranes. I have pre-ordered that. That looks really good. Midnight in Everwood, I'm excited for. Oh, Once Upon a Broken Heart. That is the spin-off series from Caraval. I'm intrigued by that. I think of my pre-orders, those are the ones I'm most excited about. The next question is, who is your fictional crush? And once again, I'm really sorry, but I don't get them. I get crushes on like people in the TV shows, so I probably have crushes on people in the Shadow and Bone series, but in books, But like my crush at the moment is just that guy from Italy, Eurovision, the one that everyone's in love with. So yeah, there's that. The next question is, which book do you want to erase from your memory? And I immediately have an answer to this, and it is Infinity Son by Adam Silvera. If you've rated this book more than like 1 or 2 stars, I do not understand like how. That book is objectively terrible. When Gavin said the only good thing about it is the cover, he wasn't lying. Like, And I feel like as well, it kind of taints how I feel about the rest of his works. I know it shouldn't, but in my head, like, I know Infinity Son was so bad, like, so poorly written, that I'm like, how did he even manage to write other good books? Because that book was so horrifically bad. The next is, what is a book you think is underhyped? And oh, I've already told you a few that I think are underhyped, but Splinters of Scarlet by Emily Bay Murphy is a fantastic historical fantasy, and no one talks about it. Like, I love it so much. What else from my shelves? Woven in Moonlight by Isabel Ibanez. Mexican Gothic, I still think that's underhyped. Like, it had a small burst in hype, but not that much. Oh, The Year After You by Nina de Pass. That one is underhyped. If you love heartbreaking YA contemporaries, that is one for you. Wranglestone. Wranglestone by Darren Charlton. That is underhyped. It's a YA romance set during a zombie apocalypse. Really good, not scary, like it's good. And the sequel's coming next year. And yeah, those are the ones I think at the moment. The next question kind of ties in, and it's, which ones do you think are overhyped? And whew, if you see my reading vlog where I read it, you'll already know this, but House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J Maas, I thought it was not good. That book is just a carbon copy of her previous 2 series mashed into one. There's nothing original in it. It's the same. What else do I think is overhyped by booktube? Probably a lot, but I'm trying to remember. I would have unhauled them if I thought they were overhyped. That's going to make it hard. Oh, it's so hard to remember, but the one that immediately comes to mind is the Sarah J Maas one, because that just like, everyone's like, oh, it's her best book yet. No, it is not. It is her worst book yet. Sorry, I have strong feelings about House of Earth and Blood. I think Finale by Stephanie Garber, the final book in the Caraval series, is overhyped. I didn't actually like it as much as the other 2 books. I love Caraval and Legendary, but Finale didn't really do it for me. I'm trying to think. I don't really remember what's hyped anymore. Like, I tend to follow people now who don't necessarily read all the hyped books, so I don't really know what's hyped anymore, and I don't tend to read all the super hyped books these days. The next question is, how many books do you think you've read in your life? And it's got to be hundreds. So like last year, I know I read nearly 100, so let's round up to 100. The year before, I think I read about 70. The year before that, I read about 50, and the year before that, I read about 30, so that's already 250. And then this year I've already read nearly 50, so that's about 300 already. And then before I had Goodreads, I probably read nearly 100 books as like a child and a teenager, maybe more than that. So somewhere around 400, I would guess. And the final bookish question is, what's your biggest bookish pet peeve? And I don't know whether they mean like for readers or for like tropes in books. One thing that I find really frustrating is dog-earing pages. Like, I don't think there's a reason to do it. You can use literally anything other than dog-earing a page. Like, why? No. In terms of book tropes, what's my least favourite thing in a book? I think when a character's really self-absorbed, I really don't like that. And you know those books where like the character, you're made to believe that you should be on the character's side, but actually they're just really self-absorbed and a selfish character. Like those books, I really don't like that trope. Okay, next we have just 2 personal questions. The first one was, how did you go about seeking your autism diagnosis? Because if you are only just watching this video and you didn't know, I am autistic and I was diagnosed when I was 20 years old. So what happened for me is not very straightforward, but basically, so I had a feeling I'd done a few like online tests that said I was, but when I was still like a minor, it was never something that my parents really pursued. And then I got to university, and during Freshers Week, I basically just had a complete breakdown and I got sent to the doctors because people were worried about me. And while we were there talking about going to therapy and stuff, I mentioned I think part of the reason why I'm really struggling is because I think I might be autistic. Sorry, I'm gonna move because the lighting is just getting worse over here. Oh, like you can see me again. You just get to see like my kettle as well. Delightful. But yes, so I had a bit of a breakdown and I got sent to the doctors and they wanted to talk to me about depression and anxiety. While I was there, I said that I thought part of the reason that I was struggling is because I was possibly autistic, and that's basically how it started. But I'd already kind of noticed signs myself. I can't remember what it was, but I just remember knowing that I was different and that I had a lot of autistic friends, and I did this little quiz being like, are you autistic? And it said definitely I was. So yeah, that's kind of how I went about it. The next one is kind of booktube-y, but mostly like a personal question, and it's what's changed in your life since you started booktube. And honestly, loads. Like, if you've been watching since the beginning, you'll have noticed a lot of things have changed. So when I started booktube, I was still living with my parents, and now I have moved out, although I'm currently in the process of moving back in with my parents, only briefly though, while I house hunt for somewhere else. But yeah, I've moved out. I've started my first ever like proper grown-up job. I'm a full-time worker. I have a graduate job, and yeah. I work from home, which is a new experience for me. Like, obviously I did uni from home most of the time, but when I've been working before, I either worked as customer service kind of stuff, you know, like in a cafe, so I had to be in person, or I worked in an office. And finally, we move on to the random questions that people sent me in, and they're just random because they are random, not because I think they're bad. So the first question was, what are 5 dinner guests you would have for like a dinner party? And I've never really thought about this question. I used to think about them as a teenager, and obviously as a teenager it would all be like people that I loved back then, but now I don't think I really would want, you know, Shawn Mendes as one of my dinner party guests. So many names are buzzing around in my head. I think I would pick John Green because I think he's a very interesting person. I don't know if you've ever watched his YouTube videos over on the Vlogbrothers channel, but like, he's very thoughtful and I think he would be really interesting to talk to. So probably John Green. Maybe Matt Haig as well, but because he sounds like he could come up with good conversation, and I feel like he'd be good in a small group setting. I'm trying to think of people who would make good conversation and like who I think would be really interesting to talk to. And I know you can have like dead or alive, so I'm trying not to come up with the too cliche ones, but like I do think I'd really like to talk to Maya Angelou because, again, I think she's had a very interesting life and would have some really interesting insights. So yeah, so far we're meant to have 5. So we've got John Green, Matt Haig, Maya Angelou. Oh, Karamo Brown from Queer Eye. I want to have him there so he can tell me, like, all of these people are just gonna like sit me down and be like, everything's gonna be okay. You're like, I just want them all to be like the kind uncle or aunt that tells me everything's gonna be okay. That's what all of these people are gonna do. But yeah, Kuramo from Queer Eye, definitely. I think he would be such a calming presence. Who is gonna be my 5th one? I want Rosé from Blackpink, for no other reason than I have a crush on her and I'd like to meet her. There you go. She'll fit right in. My picks are John Green, Matt Haig, Maya Angelou, Karamo Brown, and Rosé from Blackpink. We did it. The next question is, would you rather never speak again or never read again? And that's easy. I'll just never speak again. I'm autistic and occasionally I will go non-verbal and I just communicate with my boyfriend by texting him what I want to say, and it's fine. Like, I can do that. And that's honestly like not even an issue. Like, if I decided one day that I just couldn't speak anymore, that's fine. Sorry, that's probably a more difficult question for neurotypical people, but like, as someone who goes non-verbal sometimes, I'm just like, yeah, cool, I just won't speak. Next is, do you prefer baking or cooking? And for me, it's cooking. Absolutely cooking. Like, nothing frustrates me more about baking than the fact that you finish baking this cake and you can't just eat it all at once. Like, that's just bullshit. Like, no, I want to eat it all, but I can't, because that's not good for me. My body won't like it. It'll be sad if I eat it all. Whereas if I make like a delicious salad or a stir fry or a pasta bake, I can eat it all and my body's like, hell yeah, nutrition. Also, I just like cooking because I find cooking is more involved. Baking is mostly just like stirring, at least the kind of stuff that I do, and I find it really hard to keep my brain on track and motivated. Whereas with cooking, there's lots of like chopping, weighing, measuring, stirring, seasoning, like there's lots of different things to keep me occupied. So yeah, I much prefer cooking to baking. I generally let my boyfriend do the baking and I tend to do, well, we both do the cooking, but I probably do a bit more just because it's my house. Next is, what's your favourite social media platform? And this is really hard because I'm really hating social media at this point. Like, I used to love Twitter, but book Twitter just gets more toxic as the days go by. Like, people have so many terrible hot takes on book Twitter and I hate it. And I've never really liked Instagram. Instagram is like, it's not good for anyone's mental health. The way they run it, the way the algorithms work is not good for creators because it constantly creates the stress, and it's not good for anyone. I don't use Facebook because conspiracy theorist family members, so that's a no from me. What other social media are there? I don't use TikTok. I know I would really like TikTok because I get obsessed with Instagram reels, but I don't agree with a lot of TikTok's rules and the things I know they do. So I refuse to get it. I feel like Pinterest is okay. Like, I used to really hate Pinterest, but I have actually found it really helpful for creating like character aesthetic boards, and for when I was trying to decide what to do with my hair, I found that really helpful. So I guess maybe it's just Pinterest, because I don't consider YouTube a social media. That's just like a content creation platform, a video platform. I'm trying to think, like, LinkedIn just does not count. Like, if LinkedIn is your favorite social media, you need help. No. So yeah, it's probably Pinterest, and I don't even use Pinterest that much. I just don't really like social media. I'm mostly on social media because that's where I've made most of my friends, and I feel like if I leave social media, I'll lose all my friendships. So next question is, what's your favourite dessert? And desserts, love desserts. I don't think I have like one favourite. It really depends on my mood, but profiteroles are really screaming at me right now. Oh, I want some profiteroles. But like, it has to be the kind of profiteroles where it's just filled with normal cream, none of this like salted caramel nonsense, and like just the milk chocolate on top. And yes, I am lactose intolerant, but we ignore that part. Also, Ben & Jerry's fish food ice cream. But my favourite ice cream is the Haagen-Dazs chocolate ice cream that has like the crunchy bits of chocolate in it. That's really good. I just love desserts. I love a good cheesecake as well. Vanilla cheesecake is really good. Also, we had a family friend that used to make this like white chocolate cheesecake that was really good, even though I don't like white chocolate. Oh, choux buns as well. Choux buns are just basically giant profiteroles, and I'm here for that. What other puddings do I like? I love so many puddings. Chocolate mousses are really good. Millionaire shortbreads. If I'm in a cafe, my go-to is always millionaire shortbread. If you don't know what that is, it's like shortbread biscuit, which is like a crumbly, really sweet, buttery biscuit with caramel and then like chocolate on top. That's really good. I like brownies, but my brownies are the best brownies and I'm too lazy to make them, so I don't always get the best brownies. Sorry, this has become a detour into which Lily daydreams about puddings but doesn't have them. And I feel like we're good now. I feel like I should probably stop daydreaming about puddings by this point. So the next question is, what's your favourite drink? My favourite drink, this is hard again. I really like the Stockwell lemonade you can buy in Tesco. It's 17p for a 2-litre bottle and it's the best lemonade. I really like iced tea. My favourite is lemon iced tea, but I like it to be really lemony. And I feel like it's different in America when you talk about iced tea, but like the European version, you know, you get in the bottles in the stores, like Lipton and stuff like that. That's really good. Foo's tea is better than Lipton though. Yeah, I think those are my favourites, like cheap lemonade, again, the British style, which is like fizzy, not the American style, although the American style is good. But yeah, the British style of lemonade that's fizzy, the American style of lemonade, and the like European version of lemon iced tea. So basically I like lemon. Next is, what's your favourite fruit? Fruit is difficult for me. Again, it's not the autism thing. I'm really super sensitive to taste, and a lot of fruits have really, really strong flavours, which is why a lot of people like them. But I don't like a lot of fruits, like basically any berries are too sharp. I think that's what my boyfriend said the taste is. I find it difficult to distinguish between tastes, but yeah, I think they're too sharp for me, which is why I don't like a lot of berries. And I don't like rhubarb and stuff like that. I really like bananas. I'm pretty basic in that way. The fruits that I eat on a regular basis are like banana, gala apples, because gala apples are the best apples. None of this pink lady nonsense, they are terrible. I like zatsumas. I really like watermelon. I think actually my favourite is probably pineapple. I just don't eat it very often because I struggle to eat like a whole pineapple before it goes off. So yeah, maybe it's pineapple. Next is, what's your favourite plant? And I love this because like my boyfriend knows this because I'm obsessed, but I feel like people haven't seemed to have noticed. Either this is like an ironic question because everyone has figured it out, or none of you guys have noticed that I just put monstera plants on everything. Like monsteras are my favourite. I think they're also known as like the cheese plant because they have the holes in them. I love monsteras. I have a fake monstera, but I don't have a real one yet because I haven't gone and bought one because I'm scared I'm gonna kill it. But my phone case has them on it, and like I have some wall art that is so pretty that is of monstera leaves. I just haven't had a chance to put them up in here, and now I'm moving out, so guess I'll wait till the next place. But yeah, monsteras are my absolute favourite. I love them. They're on my like channel art and everything. They're on my intro and outro. Like I love monsteras. And the final question is going to be perhaps the most divisive question of this whole video, and that is, do you prefer Pepsi or Coke? Don't come for me, but I'm a Pepsi gal. And honestly, I think it's just because that's what I was raised on. I feel like a lot of autistic people will have the same experience where what you ate or drank as a child is what you kind of prefer as an adult. I can really tell the difference between Pepsi and Coke, and like I will drink Coke, I don't have a huge issue with it, I just prefer Pepsi. So I feel like the food questions are always really interesting because I'm so like weird with food as an autistic person. Like I only shop in Tesco because their squash, like their cordial, I only like their apple and blackcurrant, nobody else's, so that's why I shop in Tesco. I know, it's very tiring, isn't it? And yeah, so I'm very specific about what I like and don't like, and yeah, I tend to only drink and eat fairly limited things. You want cuddles? Okay. So yeah, that was a lot of questions. I really hope you liked this and it wasn't too boring. Thank you so much if you asked me questions. I think I got to all of them. If I missed your question, I'm sorry, that wasn't intentional. If you have any more questions, feel free to put them in the comments and I will try and answer them. So thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a like and consider subscribing to see more content from me, and all of my social media links, even though I just said I hate social media, are down in the description below. If you want to leave me a comment to let me know you were here, please leave me... this is a hard one, I haven't done this in a while. Leave me a cloud emoji in the comments. Thank you again for watching, and I'm gonna go cuddle my little love bug who has curled up next to me. Can I show you? There you go. We're gonna go have cuddles. So thank you so much for watching.